Kristaps Porzingis is going nowhere. Get used to it. The world wants to trade this guy, but that would be stupid. However, there are a lot more decisions, though, coming up for Dallas. Luka Doncic just dragged his team to a Game 7 against one of the most talented teams in the West, but there's talk about him turning down his rookie extension and leaving after next year. They could even fire their coach. This video explains the most controversial offseason in the NBA because the clock is ticking in Big D. Yo, it's KC. Welcome to AM Hoops. Hit subscribe and notification bells for 5 videos per week, Monday through Friday, always dropping at 5 Eastern, so you can be an entertained NBA fan all week long. We're going to have a couple of extra offseason videos this week because so many exciting offseasons are now here, like the Lakers or the Mavericks, and we have to talk about them all. So before anything, it's the offseason basics. Cap space, as much as $35+ million if they let go of Tim Hardaway Jr., Josh Richardson, and Willie Cauley-Stein. Enough for a max player. Exceptions, the $9.5 million mid-level, the $3.8 million biannual, the draft, no picks whatsoever after the Porzingis trade and the JJ Redick deal. Needs, another star, obviously, and more than that, depending on who leaves in free agency. And the relevant guys are Tim Hardaway Jr. and Josh Richardson, who has a player option. First up this offseason, what to do with Kristaps Porzingis. Whether he's dealing with an injury or not, he was awful in the playoffs, a defensive liability, and a role player on offense on a max contract. A quote from KP made a lot of noise after Game 7. ESPN reported Porzingis is frustrated, often feeling like more an afterthought than a co-star as Doncic dominates the ball and the spotlight. That could be a shot at Rick Carlisle or at Luka, but the person KP should be mad at is himself. The only reason he's an afterthought is because he sucked. The Mavs traded for him to be a superstar duo. That is what they want. Luka has held up his end of the bargain, but Porzingis has not. If the Mavs aren't depending on Porzingis, it's because he's not dependable. I do feel for him, though. I mean, it must be really tough to deal with horrible injuries and then feeling like your star is fading. But to blame that on anyone but himself is wrong. The only thing that will save Porzingis is not Carlisle's game plan or Luka sharing the ball more, which he does already. It is Porzingis remembering how to play basketball. Some people say, trade him. Well, they can't. I would love to do a whole big section here on KP trades, but that would be idiotic. Right now, KP's stock is so low, they would get nothing for him. Dealing Porzingis would actually hurt the Mavs. This is a look at his remaining deal. Dude is owed $31.7 million, then $33.8 and $36 million the next 3 years. No one wants an injury-prone 7-footer on 12 points a night and bad defense on that contract. So, they have no choice but to run it back and hope he rebounds. The unicorn Porzingis is in there somewhere, and if he can stay healthy, maybe this trade won't look so bad. If not, he becomes one of the worst contracts in the NBA, along with John Wall and Kevin Love. But there is one thing that people are afraid to ask. Is Luka part of the problem? For some reason, he and Porzingis don't have much of a relationship. They don't really interact on the court that often, and it can get awkward. Mark Cuban even admitted they are not friends. The coach, Rick Carlisle, calls the relationship evolving, which is a euphemism for it sucks. I wouldn't read too much into it, except Luka shows other signs of being difficult to get along with. He's notoriously one of the biggest complainers in the league, and it can get tense with his own coach. He has straight up disrespected Carlisle at times when he disagrees about decisions. Luka is just 22 years old. Calling him a diva would be totally unfair this soon, but it is something to watch as he gets older. No matter what, though, they will offer Luka a max extension. I mean, earlier I said people are wondering if he might turn it down. That is just dumb. ESPN tweeted this. Luka Doncic smiles widely when asked if he plans to sign the Supermax extension this summer. I think you know the answer. Yeah, of course he's smiling about that. It's over $200 million. Luka is set to sign the largest rookie extension of all time. at 30% of the salary cap. The Mavs have 4 or 5 more years to build around him before he decides to do what LeBron did with the Cavs or AD with the Pelicans and leave elsewhere. Next, all that cap space. Earlier, I broke down how they could have enough cap space for a max player this offseason. That sounds great, but here's why I wouldn't do that. They would have to let go of Tim Hardaway Jr., their second best player right now, Josh Richardson, their second best defender behind DFS, and Willie Cauley-Stein. But let's say they did. They have all this cap space. This is the full list of potential max free agents. Kawhi Leonard, and that's it. That's the entire list. But here are sub-max free agents. Chris Paul, DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, Mike Conley, John Collins, Lonzo Ball, Dennis Schroeder, Norman Powell. Okay, cross out the point guards because Luka needs the ball in his hands. And none of these remaining dudes are like that big of an upgrade. Getting a new teammate sounds fun right now because the Mavs just lost in the first round. But they need to re-sign all their own guys to extensions and upgrade their roster using exceptions. Potential candidates for the full mid-level exception are Serge Ibaka, Montrezl Harrell, Alex Caruso, Spencer Dinwiddie, Lauri Markkanen, Andre Drummond, or Lou Williams. Next up this offseason is keeping Coach Rick Carlisle. This dude hasn't won a playoff series since the 2011 championship. I get it. Fans are sick of it. I mean, even if he is a good coach, isn't it time for a new voice? For me, no. The question you always have to ask in this situation is, who will replace him? There is not a home run hire waiting, like Monty Williams was 2 off seasons ago for the Suns. Instead, it would be someone like Mike Budenholzer or Chauncey Billups or Terry Stotts. Mark Cuban even said, we are not getting a new coach, so we can all forget about this until next offseason. The big picture on Dallas is no big moves. Not closing out up 3-2 in the playoffs was really frustrating, but there are no big moves to be made. First, Kristaps Porzingis has been so bad, no one wants to trade for him. If they traded him, it would be like for a bag of Doritos. They need to wait to see if he bounces back. Second, they've got cap space potentially, but this is a horrible offseason for free agents. As we saw, Kawhi Leonard is the only max type guy, but he will probably stay in LA. Luka Doncic will sign his Supermax extension, so realistically, the Mavericks have plenty of time to build around him. So no, big roster moves are not happening this offseason, and I don't think they're gonna get a new coach. By the way, please let me know in the comments if you think I'm wrong about all this. I genuinely want to see a smart plan to turn around the Mavericks if this is your favorite team or you think about this stuff a lot, but I just don't see it. Now click this playlist for all the offseason videos we have done so far. The Warriors actually do have big moves they can make.